morning, everyone. Welcome to Sip&Awe, where God puts you on awesome. I'm your host, Brandon Windsor, and today is Wisdom Wednesday. This has been by far one of my favorite Wisdom Wednesdays to ever occur. I say that every week, but that's because I truly believe that every time I meet someone new on Podmatch, the conversation gets better. Now, I'm not saying like the first few people weren't that great, but this conversation really blessed me personally because he is now a personal friend of mine. I talk to him on the daily because he is helping me out break some bad habits, which you guys will see in the conversation as it continues. But before we do anything else, it is time for the sippy dippy. Everyone raises your glasses in the air and raise them like you just don't care. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Lord, for the day that he has made for you and me. 1, 2, 3. Man, today's guest, his name is Matthew Silva. And let me just tell you, man, it was from the start. I'm going to be honest. I didn't tell Matt this, so if you're watching, Matt, what's up, dog? But the reason why I asked him to be on the show was not because of his bio, not because the Lord told me to. It was just simply his profile picture. This dude's jacked. He's ripped. And I was like, bro, I have to get this guy on my show. And so I hit him up, and praise Jesus, he got me back, man. But this is his bio: serving my country as a dedicated Marine. This is Matthew talking, not me. Okay, just so we're clear. I made a tough decision to leave when circumstances become uncertain due to COVID. Post-service, I yearned for success, but found myself lost in pleasure-seeking as a nightclub bouncer. However, when my parents needed me in Florida due to my father's battle with ALS, I prioritized family over everything. This journey led to sacrificing painful relationships and a profound mindset reset. Immersing myself in books and wisdom, I discovered a passion for guiding others through loss, inspired by my recent loss of my father, and helping them break free from mediocrity. Jeez. I'm so sorry. Through fitness and mindset transformation, my story is a treatment to resilience and the transformative power of prioritizing family and personal growth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Matthew does just that. Our conversation was so amazing. And it was my first time using Zoom Pro, which it was really nice not having to end the conversation so quick. So, Matt, thank you for blessing me with the amount of time that we got to talk. This conversation has truly blessed me, and I'll kind of get into how he's blessed me personally at the end of the episode. So stay tuned. Now let's get in there and meet my buddy, Matt. Matthew, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. It's another day in paradise.
Come on, man. Do you, I assume that you do well waking up early and just getting after it. Is that true?
Yeah, man, it's a staple to my very purpose. Like, I realize that you always know, right? You're always taught, you always hear, waking up early because of this, because of that. But I guess the most center of it that it comes down to is that human nature requires struggle for growth, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
Right. So that early morning wake up, it's a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a catalyst for you to better yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're already starting a little bit of struggle. And from that, I go to a reflection, and then I do my thing, and then I go to the gym. And the getting up early, and also the magic is not just in the struggle, the magic is in the consistency of it.
Yeah.
When I first started in January 1st, I decided at 3, as I was getting up early before then too. But only after January did it become like completely, okay, not going to miss. And I haven't missed since. And
Wow.
it is March. I'm a different person than 2 months ago, man.
Oh my goodness.
Completely different.
3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Oh my
3 a.m.
gosh. Wow.
Well, yeah. In that case, it was because of my job. I had a 9 to 5 job that I would start around 9 or 10-ish, because it was a sales job. So I adapted the teachings by Jim Rohn. One of the things that he said that stuck to me was work harder on yourself than you do in your job.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And how am I going to work harder on myself than my job if I'm giving my job my first time of the day, first energy, first everything? And then,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now I got to work on myself after, through the night.
Hmm.
So I gave myself my best, you
Yeah.
know, and
Very
that's what
good.
I do every day. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. So, I love the statement that you made a few minutes ago about struggling well, you know.
Mhm.
Did that come naturally, like as a young man, you were like, man, I'm meant to struggle well, or have you struggled so much and you've had a lot of hardship and then sometime it just clicked. You're like, you know what?
Mhm.
I'm meant to
Mhm.
struggle and I'm meant to learn how to struggle well. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It started as me being taught to struggle. My father's an immigrant from Brazil, right?
Wow. Okay.
Hardworking man.
Yeah.
Hardworking man. He was. I keep talking about him present since he passed away 6 months ago.
Oh man. Oh man. I'm
Um,
sorry to hear that.
it's okay. He's happy. He's in a better place right now. Like it's a comfort to know that he's better because he was struggling. He was dealing with ALS for about 6 years before he passed.
Wow.
And he always taught us the importance of hard work, me and my brother, right? And he had a construction business. He started off as a stonemason, brick
Wow.
mason, bricklayer. And what will he do? He's his two sons, and he's trying to teach us the importance of hard work. He took us to work. Took
Yeah.
us to work. Obviously, we still went to school, but he took us to work at an early age, 10 to 12 or whatever. Started paying
Yeah.
us like $5 a day,
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I would hate it. I would absolutely hate and loathe it. But I tell you one thing is after doing that, no other job after that was difficult,
Wow.
at least not in a physical sense, right?
Yeah.
Everything that came behind, like Marine Corps, seminary school, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't as difficult as that, right? And I saw the reflection of the difference in upbringing in other people's attitude when it came to hard work.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as me, is something I learned, something that stuck to me too in history class. Um, I think it was because I went to a Christian school. It was it was a Pastor Clark. It was our teacher. His name was Mr. Clark, right? I still have
Yeah.
him on Facebook. That's why I want to make sure I quote him. He was going over the difference between civilization growth in Europe
Okay.
and in the Americas. So the Europeans struggled with the cold, they struggled with lack, they struggled with the soil not being as fertile. So they had to develop their technology, develop their technology in combat, in harvesting, in farming, and all of it. When they get to South Africa, the Indians still have arrows.
Mm.
Why? Because the Indians are he said it was like God's U crops, kind of like God's Walmart. They'd grab the fruit off the tree and they're good. There was no
Yeah. Yeah.
struggle, there
Yeah.
was no fighting. So then Europeans came with gunpowder and weapons and swords made out of steel and metal, and the Indians had arrows.
Yeah.
So that stuck to me. I was like, damn, that's a clear indication because the humans in Europe are not the same, but they're Homo sapiens. They're the same species as it
Yeah.
was in South America. And their struggle was a clear indication of their growth.
Yeah.
That stuck to me. And then
Wow.
everything in my life, I've been kind of just sticking to, I've learned to embrace struggle as much as possible. Obviously, nobody's perfect. I didn't turn into
For
David
sure.
Goggins immediately, but I've learned that struggle brings out the best. And the last year and a half of my life has been the biggest struggle
Yeah.
packed
Yeah.
year,
For sure.
and that brought about the best favorite version of me I've ever possibly had in my life.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time I could pass away tomorrow and be fine with it, not be mad at God or anything, and be like, I had so much else to do. There is much else to do, but I'm able to live each day
Absolutely.
uh, with purpose and within my purpose, because part of my purpose is self mastery, and that self mastery only starts with honesty and struggle,
Man, that's
self
so
imposed
good.
struggle.
Man.
So,
Yeah. If you don't mind sharing, what's the biggest struggle or what was the hardest struggle you had to go through that really changed your character?
Always goes back to this, even though I'm not really not. It's in the past. One of them was my father passing, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but with him, it was kind of it was expected. Like you bury your father. He was young though. He was 67. He wasn't old enough to
Wow.
pass away. He was a healthy man. He had no vices. He had no addictions. He had no. He didn't binge eat trash. He didn't drink. He had none of that.
Mhm.
If anything, he binged on vitamin C. Like that's about it.
Yeah.
Somebody coughed, a little side cough. You'd grab like 5 vitamin C's and put it in your hand, and be like, take it all.
That'll help.
And
Take it. Take it.
yeah, take all of
Wow.
those. That's it. And he passed away so young.
Man.
But in that time, like now, um he passed away. He raised us in the church. He got closer to God. He was always a God-fearing man. So I have zero doubts of where
Praise
he
God.
is now.
Yeah, for sure.
He's comfortable. He's good. He's out there with his young body and his curly hair. Uh,
Yeah.
over there with Peter or Paul or whoever his favorite disciple is.
Yeah.
It's good now. You know,
Yeah.
he's still a driving force to my success though, because I want to make him proud. I know he's watching. I have to make him proud. He
Yeah,
left some big shoes to fill,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
And another one was a struggle was with a young lady in Washington. Honestly, Washington State is where I came from, where I had my bender. Um, with her, I really had to go through the process of changing myself, bettering myself, and eventually I had to cut ties because being a focused individual, being completely disciplined and about my growth, she would take my focus away from me. And not because it was her fault. It's because of the ties that I had to her. Is because of how much it was relatively toxic as well.
Hmm.
But walking away from her was an act of me loving myself.
Yeah.
It was the ultimate act of loving myself
Yeah.
to where I was the most important thing. And after that, it seems bad or negative, but that's the way I understand it now. This is my truth. Having lost her and having lost my father, I could lose anybody, honestly. I
Mm.
mean, obviously, I still have my family, I have my mother, I have my brother, I have my sister-in-law, I have my sister, I have their babies. But what I'm saying is outside of that,
Hmm.
I could lose anybody and I'll be fine,
Yeah,
you know?
man, for sure. Now let's talk about mindset through struggle. So,
Sure.
you lose your dad. So when you
Hmm.
found out, because something that I struggle with is whenever something happens, it's just like chaotic for a second, and then it kind of like I kind of calm myself down. Are you in the place where, for example, you find out your dad passed and you just kind of had a moment where it was chaotic, or right there, like you were saying, you knew where he was, he's in a better place, and you were just super content, you were relaxed, and you just you had peace with where your dad was it like that the moment he passed, or did you kind of have to grab those thoughts, cast them out, and speak peace over your situation?
So what I dealt with my father is that I had to deal with guilty, negative thoughts that would come to my head
Hmm.
because of taking care of him. I would lose my temper. I would lose my temper, like I would be rude with him a little bit. I wouldn't ever curse him out or anything like that. When
Right.
I say I'd lose my temper, I would just be less than absolutely loving like I should be,
Yeah.
because he was completely immobile. He wasn't capable of. That's what I dealt with most. And I'll be honest with you, I dealt with that more than dealing with the trauma of having him pass away in my hands as I'm trying to give him the
God,
machine for him to breathe.
man.
That the trauma of that doesn't even, I don't know, I guess it's even.
Yeah.
But I've dealt with the guilt and I've pushed the guilt aside. When it constantly comes in my mind, I just push it away, remembering that he's there and he's not, yeah, son, you did this to me. He's not like that at
Yeah.
all.
For
He's
sure.
watching. He loves me, and he's rooting for my success. Um, but it wasn't. It's kind of funny though. You'd ask if it was at peace. We're at peace because it was, like I said, it was expected and it was a natural course of things.
Hmm.
Did it hurt? Yes. Does it still hurt? Yes. Sometimes do I miss him? Absolutely.
Hmm.
There's stuff that I wish that I could tell him about that I'm going through that I know he'd be proud of me for.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll just let him watch, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as dealing with it, I dealt more with the guilt and the actual physical trauma of it. I was holding him because he had two machines he would breathe. He'd breathe from one, and the other one would be to push out mucus because he would have mucus. He got immobile enough to where he couldn't clear his throat or cough properly.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
this was going on for maybe a year and a half or 2 years before he actually passed. So that was
Wow.
very irritating. Um, so I kept switching the machines, and one machine wouldn't do it. Then he'd ask for the other one. The other one wasn't enough. Realistically, his lungs got too weak, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. He would be able to lay down without the machine. And then now that he's laying down, he needs the machine and needs a machine 24/7 now. And that's how it happened. Eventually, the machine wasn't enough anymore. But
Yeah.
that's how I dealt with it. But what brings comfort is knowing where he is now.
For sure. Was losing your dad the first time you've dealt with loss?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. Lost like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I think the very first time I saw a dead body was I was in first grade and my grandfather's dad, so my great grandfather passed away. And so we
Hmm.
went to the nursing home at like 2 a.m. and there he was. And I'm like, what is going on?
Ah, that's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
for a
And so
kid.
like, yeah. So I didn't really like, I couldn't really comprehend what was going on because I was like, I don't know, maybe 6, 5. I don't know how old you are in first grade.
Hmm.
But I've never really dealt with someone super duper close pass away. Well, I guess I had an uncle who passed away when I was in middle school. It was really, really unexpected.
Mm.
He woke up and he was having a headache and he just didn't feel good. And he was driving to work and the headache just kept getting worse. And so he pulled over and he flagged someone on the side of the road. He's like, "You just need to call the ambulance. I can't, like, my head hurts so bad." And he had an aneurysm on the way to
Oh,
work.
wow.
Yeah. So that was really sad. And so I struggled with not talking to him. The first week, a week before he passed away, we had a family reunion. And I remember he was at the grill and I was going to go get food. And for some reason, like, I didn't believe in God at this time, but I'm pretty sure this was God. He was like, I just had this thought to like hang out with him. And I was like, nah, I'll see him later. And so that moment really, really struck me. It's like, man, I should have hung out with him just a little bit. I should have at least hugged him, because I just, it's crazy how we can treat people as common, right?
Hmm.
And you never know. Like I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine, their mother passed away not too long ago, and a month before she passed away, they celebrated their anniversary, and they're
Hmm.
they're they're, they're doing great, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and it's crazy how quick
Yeah,
life or loss can hit us, and
yeah.
so I guess it's a beautiful message of not taking things for granted, not taking people for
Mhm.
granted,
Yeah.
and just really, really being intentional with relationships.
Hmm.
How are your relationships with your family? Are you guys a tight knit group?
I could definitely say that we're all living in the same house right now.
Right on. Yeah.
My brother moved from Washington State about a few months ago.
Cool.
So he's here with the five kids and kids in one room, him and his wife in another. I'm in another. My mom is in another one. So we're
Cool.
definitely tighter now. And I really believe it's by design. For the same way that I was moved from Washington to here
Yeah.
out
And
of
where are
my
you located? Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good. I'm in South Florida right now. I'm in
South Florida.
Margate. Yeah,
Cool.
close to Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I was pulled out of Washington to Florida because my dad he wasn't feel not he already had ALS. I had been taking care of him for about 2 years before that.
Right.
in Washington, but they moved to Florida, and my mom thought she could do it on her own, and she couldn't, so I had to move as well. Um, and then my brother moved, and he's in this house, and I believe it's by design too, because it's a time for growth for all of us, you know. And
Yeah.
me and my mom had a lot of growth happening, and mindset shift and change happened when we got here. And I believe that's what my brother and my sister-in-law are going through right now. So who better to show them and to help them than us, you know?
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
yeah, so we're definitely tight knit, also because of the Brazilian culture, you know.
Hmm.
My sister lives like 10 minutes away.
Cool.
So yeah, we're definitely a tight knit family. My dad raised us up to stick together and take care of each other, like our
Very good.
siblings or whatnot.
Yeah.
I got some cousins around here. I got family in Virginia, some family in Brazil, so family
Cool.
in Washington as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. If you don't mind me asking, do you guys live together because when your dad passed away, it just kind of brought you guys together, or is it a different situation?
It brought my brother here. He was trying to move here before my dad passed, but he eventually knew he had to move over here because they weren't really getting anywhere in Washington.
Yeah.
I moved obviously because of my dad, and now that my dad passed, I'm obviously not going to just leave my mom, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so, and I'm a single dude. There's no reason for me to go. I mean, not there's no reason. Of course, there's a reason. I'd rather have my own place eventually, but right now, what my mom needs, she's her loss is different than my loss, right?
Yeah.
If anybody had a worse loss than me, it was her though. It was her, and then me, and then everybody else, because I was living with my dad.
Yeah.
So just because I'm at a certain level of okay, I'm good, doesn't mean that she is, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, man. So you were in the Marine Corps, correct?
I was.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you for your service.
a pleasure.
Um, I have been around Marines for a while because my grandfather was in the Marine Corps. He fought in Vietnam. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
hoorah! You know, that's what he
Right.
that's what he does that every time a Marines commercial comes on. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So were you in infantry or what did you do?
No, I was the infantry's one of their worst enemies. I would tell them that their rifle is dirty and take it back. I was an armor. I would make sure the
Okay,
weapons are counted, cleaned, and all accounted for, pretty
cool.
much.
So
Yeah.
did you ever see battle or no?
No, I was enlisted as in reserves for about a year and a half. I was enlisted in reserves, was there for about a year and a half. Um, Doing some active duty time as well, some temporary active duty at my reserve station, because I realized as soon as I enlisted in reserves, I was like, this is a mistake.
Yeah.
So then I put in a package to go active reserve, which means you're basically active duty at a reserve station. It doesn't mean you go to the Fleet Marine Force.
Okay.
So so you think that there's two branches where it's active and reserve. There's actually three. There's the active duty for the reservists, right? So
Mhm.
that's a non-deployable capacity. So, and that was the fastest way to get activated. Plus, when the recruiters I was around here in South Florida when I was in reserves, they didn't know what they were doing.
Mhm.
A lot of times, it's the luck of the draw too about you not knowing who you're around.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Marines, when it comes to the lives of other Marines and whatnot, a lot of them don't care.
Yeah.
They didn't know and didn't care to find out.
Yeah.
So I went active reserves,
Okay.
which was the fastest way. I put in a package. It was approved like a month later, and they sent me to Washington State to a reserve station there in Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington.
Cool.
Yeah.
So talk about that. First off, why did you choose the Marine Corps? And just talk about your time. Like, what was boot camp like?
Well, I was one of the oldest ones there. I was 25. The
Okay.
cutoff is 29.
Okay.
Recruit training was all right. It sucked because it's mind games that they play on you, but it wasn't that bad.
Okay. Like
It's
what?
bad when you're in. Well, like they make you make your bed in like 30 seconds and then they tell you to tear it apart again and do it again. Like those stupid games. Like like that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
they tell you to do something. If you don't do it fast enough, he said he didn't do it fast enough. All you do it again.
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, it's really to tick you off.
Yeah.
But the Marines, I joined the Marines because obviously it was the toughest branch, and I believe that till this day. It's the toughest branch. The standards for to be a Marine versus to be a normal soldier or a airman or a sailor, to be a Marine is a different standard. Is it very
Wow.
crazy standard? Not really, kind of, sorta.
Yeah.
That's why they call them the few, the proud, because there's a lot less Marines. Also, because there's a lot less money, but that breeds competition.
Cool.
Competition breeds the best. So
Hmm.
a lot of Marines that are smart, which was what I was going to do, they get out of the Marines and they go to the Army where there's more resources. So they take that attitude with them and they go to the
Uh,
Army and then they kill it.
wow.
But
Very cool.
yeah, but the Marine Corps, like you can even look into it. If you go to Marine recruit training and then you do a contract, if you want to go to another branch of the military, you just go and you do a little transitional course. If you are a sailor, airman, or what's the other one? Coast Guard, any
Yeah.
other branch, soldier, you could have served 20 years in whatever branch you're in. If you're going to go to the Marines, you have to go through recruit training
Okay.
because it's different. It's 13 weeks versus 10 weeks like in the other branches.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as a self-disciplined man, did you handle boot camp well, or was it pretty tough?
It sucked, man. I got in trouble for, I think what I got in trouble for most was smiling a lot, breaking bearing, pretty much. Breaking bearing, I can't.
Jeez.
Barry's bad till this day, which is I'm glad it doesn't matter now, but
Yeah.
I would they catch me smiling and then they'd say strip. Strip meaning just take off your blouse,
Okay.
then go to the front quarter deck, and then they IT you, which is intense training, intermittent training. I already forgot what the term was. Basically, they tell you what to do, like do 50 push-ups as fast as you can right now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you have to keep shouting it. All right, get up, knees, high knees, high knees, high knees. You get up, do high knees, get back down, get back up.
Oh my goodness, man. Wow.
But it's like 60 seconds of you didn't think 60 seconds could last that long, and it lasted
Yeah.
longer than a plank, honestly.
Wow.
But it was a good time, honestly. It taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, even recruit training was a good time. Recruit training was a good time. The Marines taught me a lot. They taught me how to multitask. They taught me how to figure it out. They taught me to just get it done, which is honestly those attitudes, they really help you and push you to be a better entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because in the Marines, you got mission. It's like make mission, make mission, make mission, or else you get demoted, or else this. You get written up, mess with your career.
Mm.
Entrepreneurial life, entrepreneurial side, it's like make mission or you're not going to get this. It's like that one was a stick with entrepreneurship. It's like kind of like the carrot, but it's also the stick too. You're like, you're going to be a nobody. Your business is not going to, how are you going to make, you're not going to make any money. You're not going
Yeah.
to grow your business. You're not going to make your dad proud.
Right.
Um, and that kind of, that helps you through those tough times. Or like, I can't figure the system out. You figure it out. You find a way,
Yeah.
you know?
So when you're in
So
boot camp and you'd smile, was it because you just genuinely found it funny, or do you laugh when you're nervous? Like,
it's they catch me.
yeah,
Sometimes I'd be talking to a recruit, or I think they also do it. That's what I'm saying with the mind games. They try to get you, like they try to make you laugh. They
yeah,
say funny shit sometimes, or they're messing with other recruits and you can't smile, and then they
yeah.
catch you.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
so it's like they're enablers, but it's part of it.
Yeah. Was the food
Like I,
good, or was it pretty terrible?
no, it was actually really damn good. Like it was
Nice.
good. It was definitely good food. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about the Marines too, is that the harder the earlier you go, the worse it was. Like I knew a Marine, an old Marine, and he said that when he was in recruit training, he would have to sit like this, and he would have to the tray is right here, and he would have to grab the food looking straight, and he couldn't look down at the plate.
What?
He couldn't look down at the plate, and it's all timed. They keep counting you
Wow.
down to eat. The only time they let us eat in peace was like Thanksgiving or to a holiday or
Yeah. Oh my
something.
gosh.
But with him, it was like you had to look forward and you had to fork it up. And that's terrible. They
Oh
didn't make
my
us do
gosh.
that, but they counted us down, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
sure back then they had worse food. Now they had better food. So it's a
Man.
matter of times too, you know.
Man. What time do you guys wake up in boot camp to do stuff?
Honestly, boot camp, they gave us the good 8 hours.
Cool.
So it's usually not a matter of how early, it's just a matter of how much sleep. They
Cool.
woke us up at 4, but we went to bed at 8. Today I'm going to bed at 8, but I'm waking up at 2:15.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to change that to maybe 7:30 to be healthier, but right
Yeah.
now I'm trying to make some moves finally in my business, and I need the
Yeah.
most maximum amount of time, which I'm actually taking a big step today. I'm actually happy
Wow.
about.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll next time we do another podcast, maybe we'll do a recap on that and
Let's
see how
go.
that panned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 8 hours.
Cool, man. Did you sleep well in boot camp, or was your body just in this weird like funk? I don't know, because you're
For a
going through
few
so
days.
much. Yeah.
First few days it was actually it's funny you mentioned it. First few days. I've never had a problem going number 2 ever, really, in my life.
Okay.
In boot camp, I think I stayed about 2 or 3 days without going the first 2 or 3 days. And I didn't even
Wow.
notice it because your life is literally turned upside down.
Yeah.
And it's not like I held it because I didn't want to go. I just didn't like I was just
Weird.
thinking, yeah, it just
Yeah.
messes with you. It could be the food too.
Yeah.
But after I got going, I would go every day as well. But I would go at night. I wouldn't go try to go during the because when I tell you that everything is timed. It's like they had
Yeah. You got 13 seconds. Squat and wipe. You're done.
something like that, but it's the drill instructor
Wow.
seconds. Like you got 500, 599, 599, 98, 976, and they keep on counting this. And I'm like, how do they have the energy for this? Anyway,
Wow.
it's when I say it's timed from when you wake up to get online, you get out of your rack and you get on the line, right?
Okay.
And then they literally put you right back in your rack. All right, mount your racks. And then you get on your rack at attention.
Yep.
And at that point, you don't scream anymore. You don't say "I sir." It's, if drill instructor says anything, you hit the rack.
Yeah.
Cat's going to sleep now, "I sir." Some bullshit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that boot camp taught you?
The biggest thing,
Yeah. Or the most important, valuable thing you got out of boot camp and going through something like that for, you said 10 weeks?
12 weeks,
12 weeks. Okay.
13 weeks. Well,
13 weeks.
the 13th week though is you earned your title of a Marine. So they're teaching you how to be a Marine.
Okay.
They're treating you different. It's kind of funny seeing those drill instructors change from being a complete total asshole into being a mentor.
Yeah.
Man, what I learned about the Marine recruit training. It's funny is that most of being a Marine, you learn being the Marine, you know, through
Yeah.
work, through the job. I guess recruit training just taught me that to embrace the suck, really. That's what
Yeah.
recruit training taught me. Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
Um, they strip away your civilian everything. They strip it completely away. You have no rights even to take a piss. You have to ask permission to take a piss.
Wow.
And then they give it back to you, but they give it back to you in structure.
Hmm.
Strip you away, build you up, and be like, all right, now go. Turn you into a robot. And then they tell you have to loosen up, you know?
Wow.
Um, but I guess that's what I learned. I learned a sense of pride and self in the Marines as
Cool.
well,
Yeah.
because it does help me. It does help guide me through some situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. What was I gonna say? Dang it. I lost it.
Yeah.
Um, man, I hate when that happens. But that's really, really cool. So, so that's what I was gonna say. Cool. So I work at a high school, and
Hmm.
these kids are nuts. Okay, let me just tell you. And so I'm just being honest. I think some kind of boot camp would be really good for these kids.
Yeah,
Do you have
definitely.
any maybe you don't even have really an experience, but like this generation is just like I don't know the words, but they just a lack of discipline. They don't know how to struggle well because they're lazy. They don't want to struggle. And when they struggle, life sucks and they give up. And
Mhm.
two questions. One, do you have any theories on why that is? And two, what do you think this generation needs to get out of that?
You know what it is? Goes right back to the beginning. What did I say in the beginning? Struggle. That's it.
Yep.
That's literally the lack of it's what they need, and what causes them to be where they are a lack of struggle. Because when you don't have any problem, Andy Frisella said it. He said, you know what the fucking problem is? Problem is nobody's got any real fucking problems. So they go and try to find other problems. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. When a
Yeah.
child, when a child, a person, whatever, is raised with a little bit of struggle, they have to develop responsibility around that struggle,
Yeah.
right? A child that is older, like my father, he had a lot of brothers and sisters. He was the oldest. He had to develop the responsibility of going out and working, taking the money back to mom and dad to help them, and the
Man.
struggle of the responsibility of having to take care of his siblings, almost like a father figure.
Well, my grandma was the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't give you the number of the siblings, but my grandma talks about how she raised her brothers at a
yeah,
very young age.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And athletes
And
just getting after it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then you got these kids that don't have to do anything. Their parents maybe struggled, and the parent gets it upside down and say, okay, I'm going to get him everything I never had,
Right.
thinking they're doing something noble,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're making
yeah.
their child weak.
Yeah.
you know um Obviously there's a balance to everything. When I have kids, if I have kids, it's not going to be like, oh, you're going to go through this David Goggins training camp for children, because I'm sure he'll have one by then.
Right.
But one thing I wanted them to do is to have them work with their grandfather in construction, when they're, well, in the summers, to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
instill that in them. Obviously that's not the case. I'm going to see if my brother has a construction company, I'm going to have them do that too.
Yeah.
uh
Huh.
but instilling the need for struggle, and if you don't have struggle pushed on you, you have to seek it out in a certain shape or form.
Hmm. That's cool.
And that's the problem with the generations, is that there's no struggle, there's no real struggle. So
Hmm.
they start talking about gender fluidity and how they're oppressed, and women are oppressed nowadays,
Right.
and all this bullshit, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lack of struggle is what it is, a lack of a problem.
Yeah. Wow,
Because
wow, wow.
a
Yeah.
problem, same way that the struggle creates growth, like I said, in the Marine Corps, the competition breeds the best Marines.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, it's because the good Marines leave and they go to be entrepreneurs and make their millions, or they go to another branch and kill it there. But struggle breeds growth, and competition breeds the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and pull out my phone. I try to open up
Sure.
the Bible real quick.
Mm.
Um, because there is a scripture that is really, really cool. Let me see if I found it. Let's see. You think we'll continue? Okay. See that no one repays evil. Okay. So First Thessalonians 5:16 says, Rejoice always and delight in your faith. Be unceasing and persistent in prayer in every situation, no matter what circumstances. Be thankful and continually give thanks to God, for this is the will of God of Christ Jesus. So I heard a minister talk about this. Another translation says, rejoice in every situation. He said it wouldn't the Bible wouldn't say that in the sense of it's easy to rejoice when everything's going well, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
so easy to be in
Oh
a
yeah.
good mood when you're in a good day. So
Hmm.
rejoice always
Hmm.
means, and of course in James, count it all joy through various trials.
Hmm.
And so we are to learn how to struggle well. And what's so funny that we're talking about this, I have talked about struggling well on this podcast for like this past few weeks. Like it's just the topic that keeps coming up. So I think that's just something I need to uh, get better at is learning how to struggle well.
Mhm.
Because I don't really take correction well. I think that's just my character, you know. For some reason, ever since when I was a kid, I saw that? What was that look? I want to
I'll
hear
tell
your
you what
thoughts.
I'll
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is. Well,
Okay.
the correction thing, it's ego, brother. And it's
Yeah.
an ego that we're never gonna kill off the ego,
Hmm.
like we're never gonna kill off hunger or sex drive. It's just something that has to be kept in check.
Yeah.
The ego is always gonna be there, and you always have to check it because it'll always want to come up, and you have to check it when it's your ego or when it's actually something that, and it's hard for men because with men there's a sense of respect that we have to uphold of who we are as
Yeah.
men. You don't tolerate certain things from other men because you're a man. that's
Right.
that's primal. That's what a man is. Sometimes it'll go over that and it'll be ego.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be below that, and somebody will do something, it'll be completely disrespectful, but you think that you're just being egotistical,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's something, it's always a balance.
Yeah.
Um, but it's ego pretty much, man.
Yeah.
Because correction, if somebody's trying to correct you, you have to look at it as the person is making me better.
Right.
This is my chance to learn, you
For
know?
sure.
It's just your ego pretty much. But go ahead, you were saying.
For sure. Yeah. So like, um, being corrected was something that I really struggled with. Even when I
Mhm.
was a kid, I was super sensitive. And so as I grew older, I was just a sensitive guy. And that's something that I've always struggled with.
Okay.
And so do you have any thoughts on why, I guess, men are more sensitive than others? Is it like a lack of, I don't know, like a lack of discipline? Do you think it's just personality? Or like, what do you
Well,
think?
let me ask you, were you raised by your father?
Stepfather. And my dad is still in my life, but I only saw him like once a year throughout my
Okay.
childhood. Yeah.
Were you somewhat sheltered in life growing
Mm,
up?
no, I wouldn't
No.
say this. Yeah. Can you define sheltered?
I guess sheltered would be I guess not, maybe the word is not sheltered. Maybe it's maybe pampered. Like what, okay. Who wore the pants in the relationship between your mom and your dad?
Probably my stepfather.
Your stepfather did?
Yeah.
Did? Okay. By what age was he taking care of you?
When I was 4.
Okay. All right. Was
Yeah.
he a man's man?
Can you define that? Yeah. Sorry.
Well, is he a man that basically encouraged manly activities or manly attitude or a stoic kind of
Mm,
attitude in at home?
you know,
The
off
the
the top of
thing
my head, I
is,
don't think so.
okay, see, that's the thing I was also gonna say. It's like if you didn't know, if I asked you, is he a man's man? And the answer wasn't a resounding yes, it means he wasn't,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it is, that it's something that's passed down.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't really know how to explain it, but my
Hmm.
father was a man's man. My grandpa was a man's man, and it is something that's taught and encouraged.
Hmm.
So that's also what it could be, is
Yeah.
that you weren't you didn't have that instilled in you, um, so you didn't have to develop a thick skin.
Mm.
See what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah,
A
that
lot
makes
of it
sense.
comes to with just dealing with stuff in life, man. Just
Yeah.
rejection or dealing with uh, pushing yourself to challenges. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, when you push yourself to a challenge, you have to compete with either other people or or yourself.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that breeds a thick skin because you're going to have to keep on. You have that constant process of looking at yourself and being like, I'm weak. I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
And then you work on that.
Yeah, that makes sense because when I was in high school, I simply could basically just do whatever I wanted. And I was pampered in the sense of my dad makes a lot of money. And so essentially when it came to like Christmas or birthdays, I could basically
Mhm.
get whatever I wanted because
Mhm.
I would get this huge check in the mail. And it's like I didn't have the responsibility of saving or anything. And I would just get whatever I wanted. I would just spend my money. And then when I was in high school, my home life wasn't the best in the sense of I was never home because one, I didn't want to be home, and two, I could just basically do whatever I wanted, right? And
Yeah.
so I participated in drugs at a very young age, drinking and partying and kind of doing whatever I wanted to do. I didn't really care. And then when I would
Mhm.
get busted, I would kind of get upset because it's like and I would like tell my stepdad, like, "Oh, I hate you," like blah 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 blah, and he's like, "No, I'm just being a dad, man." Like, and no,
Uh-huh.
I look back at that now, I was like, "Man, I was so stupid."
Uh-huh.
But when I would get in trouble for being a rowdy kid, I would take that to heart, right? And so
Yeah.
there was a lack of structure, especially middle school to high school. And then when I came to when I got saved, I went to a ministry called Go Ministries, and they had a boot camp. And so for the first 40 days, you'd wake up like at 6, you would do workouts, and it was really cool. And that really, those 40 days, I'm not saying it like formed me to who I am, but it
Mhm.
really changed me. And it really just opened my eyes to what self-discipline is and the lack of structure in my life, the lack of routine.
Mhm.
Um, and so I have
Mhm.
grown. So I've been out here for almost 5 years now. Um, I've grown so much since that time. So I think my sensitivity comes from a lack of, like you said, um, being trained to be a man's man and kind of just
Accountability. Yeah.
accountability and just simply just doing whatever I wanted. Like,
Yeah.
it was bad,
That's
bro. It was so
that's
bad.
yeah. That's funny that you say that because my upbringing was a complete opposite.
Mm,
Complete opposite. I
yeah,
was it was strict. We didn't always have the things that we wanted.
yeah,
Um, so and we were raised strictly in the church and everything. Obviously, I had my time of escape, my
yeah,
because eventually after I got divorced, I went off the handle, which was my last 2 years in Washington State.
yeah,
Um, which I don't know. I believe most people really need that.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I know I did because the person I can never can't have the light without the dark, right?
for sure.
I told my mom, we feel the pain of dad leaving, dad being taken. Why? Because he was such a good man.
Yeah,
I would have not, I wouldn't have ran away from that negative version of who I was
hmm,
to be who I am
yeah,
if that person wasn't so bad, right?
yeah,
So I believe that everybody needs that version. Um,
for sure.
it's what you do with it that really matters. If
Yeah,
you recognize it, and which is the first step to self mastery, is self honesty. You got
yeah,
to look in the mirror and be like, we got to change. We got to change that. And
yeah,
then eventually you take a step each day to change that in every area, physically, mentally, spiritually.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about this too, because I'm mainly asking for myself, but I still struggle with being quote unquote a little bit more sensitive and struggling with my ego. What's a great place to start, or where is a great place to start?
The best place to start to self develop is at least first you recognize it.
Hmm.
Second, you seek out self development books that are tailored towards what you're looking for.
Cool.
So if you want to self develop, like there's so much knowledge and so much richness in the internet, and people don't take advantage of it. It's insane, man. The
Yeah.
the quote the quote that is driving my life to success right now by Jim Rohn, I saw on Instagram.
Wow.
That thing is a structure to my day, and I saw him on Instagram. One of my mentors, Wes Watson, I saw him on Instagram.
Cool.
The reflection that I do in the morning that starts off my morning, and the physical training I do, because he's also my personal trainer, on Instagram. I met this guy. I
Very
saw.
cool. Yeah.
So it's all out there.
Yeah.
So, and there's Audible, there's books. That's what I started doing a year and a half ago. And because I had no goal, I needed to self-develop. I'm like, I gotta get rich. How do I get rich? So I started reading books about getting rich, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And as I read these books, I realized it's not about like what I do with money. It's about attracting money with the person that I am.
Cool.
And those books have a lot of one of them, which is about growing. It also has it could work for you too. Think and Grow Rich, because it talks about resilience. It
Mm.
talks about having a strong mind, having a mind that doesn't bend under rejection, ridicule, failure. So I definitely recommend that book to you first,
Yeah,
is Think and Grow Rich for sure. If you haven't read it, you definitely need to. And
totally.
that
Yeah,
and in those books, he quotes other books, and those other books, you need to read those other books, you know.
cool. Yeah,
So,
that helps too because a New Year's resolution for me is to read more
mm,
because growing up, I hated reading. I just didn't like it.
hmm
And so this year I have um, started reading consistently and I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a great
yeah,
way to end the day, put the phone down and read a book for 20 minutes. It's the best. Like it feels so
hmm
good. So
hmm
I would definitely check out that book.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just so cool that you say that because it's like I have being out here and growing and changing. I've wanted to grow in certain areas of my life, and
hmm
I've wanted to change like my mindset and how I take correction. And a big person that I look up to is I bet you know who Jocko is, right?
of course.
Dude, I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Jocko, bro. And so when I
Jocko's
was
the
in Go
man.
Ministry, Jocko was my alarm in the morning. And so
Uh,
it would play. He's like, all right, I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds to get out of bed. And then he would count down. And
nice.
basically he'd get to one. He's like, if you're still in bed, you're a freaking loser.
Oh,
Thanks, Jocko. I'm up now. So
that's funny.
yeah, but Jocko's a good guy. David
hmm
Goggins too, like he's a
hmm
beast, bro. Like
All those guys, yeah.
so cool, man. That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the last topic we can talk about before we close is your business. What are you doing now? What's your
Uh,
business?
I'm an online personal trainer slash mindset coach.
Cool.
In this year and a half since moving from Washington, I learned the first thing needed to change was my mind.
Mm,
And I changed it, like I said, through the readings. And
good.
eventually, and I left there in October. By August, I realized that this is within in the path to get rich, obviously. In
Mm,
August, I invested into a program to be a personal trainer because I looked at my hands. I'm like, what can I provide people? It's that phrase that ikakaya, I think. I
okay.
think I might be saying it wrong. No, I think I said it wrong. It's that Japanese term it's a four-way term.
Okay.
Something that you're good at, something that you love, something that the world needs, and something that people will pay for.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, for me, that was fitness. I was posting about fitness years before I started personal training.
Cool.
So I thought I'm going to be a personal trainer. I wasn't even certified yet, but it's like I can teach people to work out. And
Hmm.
even though it started that way, I knew that I wanted to train people differently,
Hmm.
not just train their muscles or their bodies. I wanted to help them train their minds as I learned.
Hmm.
And then through that development, my company name, my brand name is Ready Evolve, to be ready through evolution, readiness through evolution. The readiness is definitely branded in me by the military, to be ready
Yeah.
for anything. And the evolution is just what I experienced and what I was going to experience after that. And I kept experiencing the evolution of self development, and that's what I wanted to teach people. Either so now I have two packages. I have a one where if a person wants to change their life and change their mindset, I have the mentorship,
Hmm.
or I just have fitness and nutrition.
Cool.
Um, and I was able to I have 8 paying clients already.
Wow.
This started in August, and I started getting all my paying clients in January. I had some pro bonos at the end of the year. I had my
Very cool.
first two that were just about a month. They were one of them was my buddy in the Marines. His name is Clanton, Staff Sergeant Clanton. He actually referred me one of my brand new clients.
Very good.
I had them for about a month last year in around October maybe.
Hmm.
And then it's finally taken off now. And today I'm about to run ads on Instagram,
Come on.
paid
That's cool.
ads.
Dude,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, and I'm focusing on military now. I'm focusing on military members and military veterans because I actually have, well, he was the first one. He's active duty. I have another active duty Marine, and then I have a soldier, a veteran, and I'm focusing on them because I know exactly the struggle that they went through in there and getting out. As a
Cool.
veteran, you're out in the cold. You got no sense of purpose. In the military, you also don't have a sense of purpose outside the military.
Right.
If they didn't make you get up at that time to do physical training, you wouldn't have any structure in your life. And a lot of human beings obviously don't, but I'm
For sure.
focusing on just military right now.
Yeah.
And they need help, especially since they are the most difficult bunch to ask for help because
Hmm.
they think they're supposed to have it figured out,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing right now. And I got, yeah, I'm running paid ads today. I was working all week on my internet funnels and
Cool.
things taking off, man. And I'm
Good for
very
you, man.
grateful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Hmm.
cool.
Thank you.
Um, and this is a personal question for me because this is something that I struggle with.
Hmm.
In a practical sense, what are some things that I can start doing or steps that I can take early in the morning to get out of bed? Because
Gotcha.
I'm terrible at that.
I got you. So the first thing we got to be practical. It's about practicality, but also about discipline, fire under your ass, right?
Right.
You have to go to bed at a decent time. So a decent time, I'd say maybe 9 p.m.
Hmm.
I don't know what time you have to be up or whatever. I would say pull that back about 1 hour,
Okay.
30 minutes to an hour. And one tip that you can do is you put the alarm clock away from the bed to where you have to stand up to go get it.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's a practicality aspect of it.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing you need to do is you need to do a reflection period in the morning. Get
Hmm.
up in the morning, do a reflection. A reflection consists of three elements: the past, present, and future. The first one is gratitude for everything in your past.
Okay.
That takes you into, I'll send you a reel too, because
Cool.
I explained it in my reel,
Yeah.
exactly what I do.
Cool.
It's your past, which is your gratitude. That takes you into your present because you're thankful about the things today. You do a reflection period analyzing your day, thinking about your week. Well, this can be practical stuff, and this can be stuff in your heart.
Hmm.
And then it takes you into manifestation, which is a scenario. Could be a year from now, 2, 3, 4 years. A scenario that you get very detailed on, and you imagine it, and you feel what you would feel in that situation,
Hmm.
because it anchors your present moment to a future that you're working towards.
Very good.
So that's very important. That's why you start off with, like I said, we were talking about you were talking about gratitude earlier. That's why I implement it every day in my routine.
Cool.
Gratitude, reflection on the game plan, and the future goal.
Very good.
And another thing is, man, is that one thing, one reason that you're also sensitive is because you don't fulfill your word to yourself.
Mm,
You'll, I don't know if you have a job. Do you have a 9 to 5 job?
I do.
Your boss tells you to do something, you're going to do it, right?
Yes, sir.
But you've
Mm,
told yourself so many times, I'm going to do this, and you didn't do it,
mhm.
right?
Right.
Tell yourself, try this out, start trying this out. And I guarantee you it compounds over time. I'm going to get up at 2:15 tomorrow morning.
Hmm.
That's what I'm going to do. Right then and there, right now, I just solidified to my subconscious, okay, cool. You said you're going to do this. Tomorrow morning, if I don't get up at 2:15, my subconscious is literally taking note and it's going to be like, liar.
Wow.
Your subconscious sees every freaking thing you do.
Hmm.
And if you don't listen, if you don't follow through, cool. You don't fail at life, but it's just minus one, minus one, minus one. All those minuses add up to a lack
Yeah.
of confidence, a lack of drive, a lack of belief in self. And that keeps you from doing anything in life.
Man.
It's all tied together, bro. It's all tied together to the small habits.
Wow.
So set a time, make sure you have and I would say too, structure your week to where it's the same time going to sleep, same time waking up every day past the weekend, even in the weekend,
Hmm.
because that becomes a habit faster. If you
Yeah.
try to skip the weekends and take time off, it's going to take about 5 weeks for it to become a habit.
Right.
Not to mention, you're going to compound your confidence over time. faster.
Cool.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
would say that.
Yeah. So
Get
whenever
it.
you, oh, good.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So whenever
What
you
you got?
you said give yourself about an hour, did you mean whenever you would wake up, go an hour back and then wake up, or whenever you leave the house, give yourself an hour to like do all that stuff?
Whatever hour you need to get up to get some coffee to do your reflection, 30 to I'd say 30 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes first because you're not used to it. I need an hour in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But my mornings are 2:15. I'm out of the house by 3:15 to go to the gym.
Man.
So 30 minutes to an hour. If you're not used to it, you're not really, I'd say spend 5 minutes on each reflection stage, right? Or
Yeah,
three
for
minutes.
sure. Yeah,
Just develop the practice of it, and then you're gonna see how much more of it you need.
for sure.
But I'd say 30 to 40 minutes before whatever regular time you'd get up. But get up out of bed. Oh, another thing. Don't touch the internet until then.
Yeah,
Do not touch the internet. Your mind is completely fertile, vulnerable, raw, and sharp, and you're gonna fill it up with garbage from the internet if you turn on the internet as soon as you wake up. Do your
totally.
reflection before the internet.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's
Yeah, I can
awesome.
send I can send this. I'm gonna send this all to you. The
Cool.
directions, the reel. This is what I send to people when this is what my mindset mentorship clients do. And this
Cool.
is what I send to people when they say they need to change their life, but they can't sign up or whatever. I'm like, here you go, bro. This is what you do.
Cool.
But understand the magic is in the consistency. If you do not do this every
Absolutely.
day through the weekend, don't come to me saying it doesn't work because it does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right.
for sure. Yes,
But I
sir.
got but I got you. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Cool. Man, that's really cool that you're talking about consistency because I have a privilege of leading the young adults group at our church. And basically, I'm talking about consistency with like a relationship with the Lord. Like a
Mhm.
lot of people, um, I heard a minister say this. He says the most deceiving thing that the church teaches on is the Lord's Prayer because they go to the altar, they say the Lord's Prayer, and then that's it. There's like no consistency with your relationship, right? And so it's a
Mhm.
daily thing spiritually to read the Bible and pray and all those things.
Mhm.
And so you have
Mhm.
to be consistent if you want change. And another minister
Mhm.
that I truly love, he says this: if you want change, something has to change. And so yep. And so if you want change in your life, you have to figure out what you need to change. And so it's really, really good, bro. Yeah, but before we close, do you have a podcast? Do you have a YouTube channel that people can watch? Kind of give yourself a shout out.
I don't have a YouTube yet. I
Okay.
do have an Instagram though. That's where the
Cool.
basis of my brand is branching out of. It
Cool.
is called Ready Evolve, one word.
Okay.
Just Ready Evolve. It's
Cool.
not spelled any new kind of different way. It's evolving readiness through evolution. And I'm just trying to fulfill. I'm just not trying. I am fulfilling my purpose every day by being the best version of me and giving that best version to whoever needs it, anybody within my reach.
Right on. Right
Yep.
on. Yep. There you go. I just followed you. Ready, evolve.
Good.
Cool.
All righty.
Well, Matthew, thank you so much for doing this, bro.
My
Uh,
pleasure, brother. Thank you
I
for having me
received
on.
something. I
Good. Good.
I
I'm
got
glad.
if no one else did on my channel, dude, I'm super pumped, ready to get after it. Like I kind of want to I want tomorrow morning to show up already so I can get up and get after it, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But
Hey,
thank you so
I
much.
can help you. I can help you with that. I can help you
Yeah,
with
man.
accountability if you want. And I'm not saying sign up for my program. I'm saying like um keep you accountable or send me a picture of the journal entry with a timestamp.
Cool.
That way it'll be like, okay, I got to get up and send him until it becomes a habit. If you want to do that, we can do that. All
Yeah,
right.
dude. I
I'm
have
gonna,
your number too because you called me. So
I did.
yeah, remember last time we were gonna do
Oh
this
yeah,
and
we both got caught up with
yeah.
stuff, right?
Let me see. Let me see if I can
Tech.
find it.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. What's your number?
It is 505.
505.
Here, let me stop recording so no random people don't call me.
Good point.
Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for joining me, Matt, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, guys.
Right on. Yes. How? That was really loud in my ears. If that was loud for you, I really apologize. I love the applause. No, but seriously, so essentially, what Matt has been helping me do is every morning since we've met, this is probably 2 weeks ago now that it's posted, I've been writing in this journal every morning. I get up at 5:30, and I write down the 3 things that he told me to do, past, present, and future. And it's been really cool. First off, because I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of doing that in the morning. I've always heard of like get up, get after it, or go to the gym, or read your Bible. But I'm going to be honest, me reading at 5 a.m. is a bad idea, because if you got me sitting in a comfortable seat, open a book, I'm bored, I'll probably fall asleep again. But this gets your mind thinking, and honestly, you become thankful for the things that you have been brought out of, the things that you're currently in, and you are essentially doing Bible stuff with the future, because you're speaking those things as if they are. And so, Matt, you've been a huge blessing in my life personally. And I told him I've met a few people on Podmatch. And so if I didn't receive anything good from Podmatch, I received a couple new amazing friendships. And so, guys, I hope today's episode really blessed you. Matt, you've been a blessing to me, and I hope that Matt has been a blessing to you as well. You can now like and subscribe on YouTube. This is my first time announcing this. Whenever we get to 200 subscribers, 200, my mom came up with the amazing idea to do the Buddy the Elf challenge. And in the movie Elf, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's one of the best Christmas movies in the world, and you can watch it right now because it's great. It's very entertaining. Buddy the Elf is on the phone with his dad, and he makes a meal which is absolutely disgusting. It's spaghetti. I find it ironic that I'm announcing this after talking to Matt, who's a fit genius. It's spaghetti, a Pop-Tart, marshmallows, chocolate sauce, maple syrup, and M&Ms. And I think that's about it. And so a few weeks ago, I got to celebrate 100 subscribers by saying Sip&Awe 100 times. But every time we hit the 100th of subscribers, I want to do something epic. And so for 200, I'll be doing the Buddy the Elf challenge. So if you haven't already, please like and share this podcast so we can get to 200, so you guys can enjoy me eating that disgusting meal. If you're tired of your wardrobe, you can now buy Sip&Awe merch. The merch has been a blessing to a lot of people. They've been looking good at work, and it's a great way to spread the word for the podcast. And so if you want to be your own personal billboard because you're wide enough, I'm just kidding. That was really offensive. I'm really sorry. But no, if you want to promote the podcast, you can now go to the link in the description and buy some Sip&Awe merch from Bonfire, who's been a very helpful tool for me to spread the word of Sip&Awe by you guys representing. You can now buy me a cup of coffee. And lastly, you can become a member on my Patreon page. It's only $5 a month, and you get exclusive access, early access to YouTube videos that aren't posted yet, and you get 10% discount on my merch. So all you got to do is you hit the link in the description below, pay $5 a month, and you get 10% off my merch. So guys, I hope you guys have been enjoying my time with Clay Hines, but don't worry, he's coming back this Friday, and he'll be joining us next Monday. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys Friday with my buddy Clay Hines. Bye-bye.